East Idaho Newsmakers is brought to you by the Bank of Commerce, your bank of a lifetime.
This is East Idaho Newsmakers with Nate Eaton.
Welcome to East Idaho Newsmakers. Chances are you have tried the candy or the ice cream. I'm talking about Farr's, and today we are talking with Kevin Call, who is well known in the community, very active in volunteerism and of course your business. Thanks for talking with us today, Kevin.
It's really nice to be here.
Are you an official Farr?
My mother was a Farr, and so my dad, my grandfather Roy Farr, started Farr's in 1911. He passed away, and my dad was in dental school and finished dental school in the Army. And then he came back and bought the business for my grandmother, and so that's how the Call side, but it was my granddad who started it, Roy Farr.
Okay, so that's the Call comes into it. 1911 here in Idaho Falls.
Yes.
And any idea what gave him this idea to do this?
You know, it's an interesting business. In 1911, you couldn't go to the store and buy ice cream. They just didn't have refrigeration and those kinds of things. You had an ice box, maybe in your house, which was just a block of ice on top of literally an insulated box. So there wasn't ice cream availability, and so you would go to a confectionery store to get that. So my grandfather started on Broadway, about 2 doors west of where Chesbro Music is now. And he started this confectionery store, and you would go there to buy ice cream, sit there and eat it. You couldn't take it home. And he did candy and ice cream, and that's how that all started.
So at the time, was an ice cream shop a novel idea? Was anybody else doing it?
I think he was kind of the only one at the time in Idaho Falls. Idaho Falls was small, and it was Eagle Rock shortly before that, and so he was kind of the early guy on the block that did that. As things grew and times changed, he became involved in Yellowstone Park with the railroad, and they would ship loads up to West Yellowstone. And he would meet the train with cans of ice cream. They'd pack it in ice, and they'd run it up to West Yellowstone. And that's kind of how that all started as far as getting out there.
So could we say that your family introduced ice cream to Yellowstone?
I think we should say that.
Wow.
I don't think it's true, but I think
okay,
we should
say
that. That
for
would
today.
Be good. That's good.
So he starts this shop, and was it popular?
Very popular. He expanded to a newer facility that was kind of by where the Colonial Arts Theater is now on Capitol Avenue. And then as that expanded, as the wholesale business started and we started to hit grocery stores, in 1933 they moved into what was, till fairly recently, our new modern facility on D Street, where the City Annex building is now. And we just moved out of that about 8 years ago into our location on Boulevard now.
So during the Depression, did that threaten the business at all?
You know, I've just, of course, I know you think I'm that old.
I mean, I know you weren't alive,
old, but they, you know, it was different times. And interesting, they found in financial troubled times that chocolate continues to be popular, and people want to have chocolate. And so I think, you know, they made it through the Depression. I know getting ingredients, sugar was very hard to get during part of that period of time and during World War II. But it continued to kind of grow, and I think it gave people an out so they could have something that would make them feel happy again.
Escape the reality of life.
Sure.
Now, he starts with ice cream. At what point did he start making the candy bars?
Candy started about the same time. He made hardtack candy. He also made some of the candy bars we're still making. The black walnut bar was one they did, a peanut cluster, the peanut cluster bar. The cherry cordial wasn't too far behind that, and those have kind of evolved into different varieties of candy bars, but same recipes.
And we have a few here. So here's the peanut cluster.
That's the peanut cluster.
And then mallow nut.
The mallow nut, which is kind of a marshmallow divinity bar with chocolate and walnuts in it.
Yellowstone mousse, that one looks good.
That's a new one that we just started making a couple of years ago. That's a chocolate divinity bar with dipped in chocolate, and then it's got little peanut butter cups, little peanut butter pieces on it.
Man, that one's got to be good. And then the cherry cordial, which I see all over the place.
Yeah, that's kind of the main standard candy bar. We came off of that one about 10 years ago with the huckleberry cordial bar, and it kind of ties to our area, and that's been really popular.
What's the biggest seller? What's the most popular?
Cherry cordial is still number one. Interesting.
And you guys you're not just in East Idaho. I've seen you down in Utah, your products and ice cream.
We do. We cover actually about 4 states regionally with our ice cream. We're in the Sam's Clubs down in Utah. And then our candy is distributed throughout kind of the region, 4-state region.
And do you manufacture it all in Idaho Falls?
It's all made. This is the international headquarters right here for Farr Candy, which is very small.
So you're born, and this has run in the family. Was it always kind of your goal to take over the business?
I grew up in the business. We joke that I was born in the freezer, but we lived on 16th Street. I never went anywhere. I'd go to work after school, just like most family businesses, and I always enjoyed it. I love being on our trucks and going out to different accounts throughout regionally through the valley area, and that was always something I really liked. My dad, as I mentioned, was a dentist. He graduated from dental school and was practicing in the Army, and that was going to be his future. So as I grew up, he said, "Kevin, you want to get into dentistry. That's where it's at." And I loved what I was doing. I loved the business opportunity of that, and so I wanted to pursue that. So after school, when I left BYU, I came here.
And when your father, when did he decide to hand things over to you?
He kind of paced off and retired some, had a few health challenges, and so started enjoying life a little bit better. So in 1977, I came on full time, and again, I'd grown up in it, but I've been there ever since. And then he kind of paced off, and now this is what really throws you, is I have a son who's in business with us. His name is Bill, the same as his granddad. And I told Bill, growing up, the best thing you should get into would be dentistry. I think that's where it's at. He had the same challenges I did. He enjoyed working in the business. He enjoyed being on trucks, working with customers, and it became kind of his passion as well. So he's our 4th generation. And interestingly enough, Bill has a couple of sons that come down and work a little bit with us now too. So there's kind of 5 generations of Farrs.
It's every kid's dream to work in a candy store, an ice cream shop. So it's happening.
Yeah, it is. It's fun. It's an interesting business. A lot more regulations now than there used to be. Food safety experiences with FDA, and of course transportation regulations are harder, and so, but as is any business. So it's changed.
We mentioned the Depression early on. Have you found, as you've been managing the company, that when we had the recession a few years ago, 2009, 2008, his business stayed pretty steady, or have you noticed the dips and the?
There was certainly a downswing with what the grocery stores see, what our accounts, Rainy Creek store where they do the square scoops of ice cream, what tourism, what they see, we feel as well. And so we go with the slope. But ice cream and candy seems to kind of continue on. It's not something that peaks up real high suddenly, but it's kind of consistent.
Let's see what you have here. So this is kind of a history. I don't know if you can.
I can hold that.
Can you so we have Roy Farr, who's the founder.
This is my granddad, yes. He passed away, I think it was in 1942 or 43. And this is my dad, Bill Call. He then became involved in the business. I mentioned left the dentistry business. He was in the middle of serving in the military, and so my mother, Clarabelle Farr Call, ran the business while he was doing his military service. And the stories are great of how she went through challenges with that as well.
And the red truck, which you still have a red truck. I don't think it's that truck there.
I think red is appropriate for any vehicle if you can do it. No, I like red, but
I've seen your car.
we
garage,
still enjoy driving red trucks. That's okay.
And then over here we have you, and is this your son Bill?
That's my son Bill.
Bill Jr. Well, you're not a junior, but named after your dad.
Yeah, he is.
Quite a thing. I look at these old pictures of the chocolate line, and it reminds me of I Love Lucy, that episode.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And things haven't changed a lot. Our candy manufacturing is still all done by hand. There are about 9 steps to making candy bars, and so they're handled 9 times. There's not a machine that does these. Could we do it a lot faster with a machine? Yes. Is it kind of neat, and does it keep the quality of the bar a little different? We believe so, to do it by hand.
Absolutely.
Our ice cream is done the same way. They're hand filled. We bought some equipment. Here's some of the guys making ice cream at our old factory. We don't wear those hats anymore, but we still hand fill most of our ice cream cartons. We came out with a new line of premium ice cream a few years ago. You guys did a story on it.
That's good stuff.
And those are actually filled by hand or by machine, but everything else is filled by hand still. We freeze in the summer. We'll freeze up to 2,000 gallons a day of ice cream. This time of year, you don't do that.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting business. We joined up with a partnership that was kind of sponsored by the state of Idaho. Excuse me. That's called Idaho Preferred. And those in the state of Idaho who want to belong to that, who use Idaho products, are a part of Idaho Preferred. And so we promote that. We're the only ice cream manufacturer in the state of Idaho that is in Idaho Preferred. And so we try and buy things locally. All of our butterfat, all of our milk powders all come out of Idaho.
Oh, that's great.
And so, we try and keep things as local as we can.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk about what you've learned running the business, your car collection, and more. We'll be right back with Kevin Call.
At the Bank of Commerce, we understand the hard work, determination, and sacrifice it takes to run a successful business. That's why we're here every step of the way to help make your dreams come true. The Bank of Commerce, your bank of a lifetime.
Welcome back to East Idaho Newsmakers. Today we are talking with Kevin Call, the current owner of Farr's Candy and Ice Cream. Owner, that's what we can call you, right?
Sure, or custodian.
Custodian, general manager. So you've been doing this your whole life. What would you say are 2 or 3 things you've learned as a businessman that might help other people that want to start a business or that are currently involved in a business?
Our business, I'd like to brag that I'm a really good businessman, but I'm not. I'm probably the worst. But I'm surrounded by good folks. We have wonderful employees. We have 18 employees. We're small, but we've got really good employees. We work together and we care about each other. I have the opportunity to have the best customers in the world. The Brolem stores that we're all familiar with, we've been with them forever. And as you grow with them, you become close to them. And that's the way it is. Things change through the years. Business used to be that every 3 or 4 blocks there was a small grocery store. Now those are all gone. The old ma and pa stores for the most part have gone. You're dealing with Walmarts and Wincos and a lot of the big companies, Sam's. Brolem's is still very much local, but you have to kind of change your focus, and that's what we've had to learn to do.
Do you want to eventually expand and have your ice cream and candy in every state, or are you kind of happy with where you're at now?
We always are looking to expand a little bit. Actually, last year, for the first time, we moved into the Boise Valley area. You would think, well, we've been in Idaho all these years, but that was a new thing for us. And so we send a truck over to Boise, and that's been a really good area for us over there. So we were expanding some. We're coming out with 4 new flavors of premium ice cream this year. So you're always doing that kind of expansion, and you have to kind of change to keep up, or you get left behind.
Can you tell us what those flavors are?
Well, it's pretty. Yes, I can.
Top secret. Yeah.
One of the new ones we're making is Grizzly Bear Tracks, which is huckleberry ice cream with fudge marble and Oreo cookie pieces in it.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Idaho Mountain Rocky Road, which is premium chocolate ice cream with caramel swirled through it. And it's got marshmallows, chunks, and almonds, which are all good for you.
Yes.
Another one we're making, which is kind of fun, is white chocolate raspberry truffle, which is a white chocolate ice cream with red raspberry reveled through it and truffle pieces. Those are, it's fun. It's fun to do those kinds of things. It used to be you could just put those in a carton and sell them, but now all the nutritional facts have to go through, and it's quite a procedure to get new flavors out.
And those flavors will be added to the premium line that we tried. Man, we tried the huckleberry cheesecake.
Right.
Cool.
I brought you one of those today,
yes.
So you can bribe the crew.
That is good.
We, and we try and do things that are kind of tie in with what our area is. Huckleberry, we make a couple of different huckleberry flavors. We buy the huckleberries through the areas, folks who pick them up in the basin area. And so that's fun. Yellowstone Mudslide, which ties in with kind of Yellowstone Park, chocolate ice cream with peanut butter revel through it, and cookie pieces and brownies. All good for you. All things that are really good for you.
Very good for you. About a year ago, we came over to your house for one of our Feel Good Friday segments with a teenager up in Rexburg who loves cars. And I was expecting maybe 2 or 3 old cars, but you opened that garage door. You've got quite a collection.
One of the bad habits that came through the call line, so I can't be blamed because it was before me. It was passed on. We really enjoy automobiles and cars. Anything with an engine is kind of fun, but I've enjoyed working with cars and restoring cars, and so we enjoy that.
You've got a nice old fire engine.
We do. In case the house catches fire, we want to have one up on the fire department and try and beat them there.
You've probably seen the cars in the parade because they're in a lot of parades on the 4th of July, not just in Idaho Falls, but in Rexburg sometimes.
We try and participate in different events. We're very involved with the duck race and the car show that's held down there, and we use them for different things. But we enjoy having them. I'd like to give you all the good excuses in the world to have automobiles or cars, but I would just say that it's been fun.
I think I recall you have a Back to the Future car, don't you?
A DeLorean, we do. And that's been fun. They're not the best automobile in the world, but they're neat to look at. They're all stainless steel. The nice thing is that car won't ever rust on us, so we'll hang on to it forever, I think.
We'll have to include a link down below if you missed that story we did, because there was very impressive vehicles there. So what's next for you?
Personally?
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and put my Levi's back on and make ice cream today. I see us as having an opportunity to hopefully continue to work. That's kind of one of the nice things about a family business. I have a son who is so great to me, and I appreciate that we can work together, and he lets me continue to work. I probably mess things up, but our youngest daughter is Down syndrome, and so she is a highlight of our life, and she keeps us pretty stable to staying around here in Idaho Falls area. I hope to be able to continue to serve in the community. I've got a wonderful wife who supports me, who I enjoy working with, and we work church-wise, community-wise. We have a lot of fun.
Where do you foresee Farr's in 50 years?
I hope it continues to expand. I probably won't be here for the 160-year anniversary, but I hope it continues to expand and be a family-owned business like it is today. It'll be interesting to see how all that changes.
Has online really affected your business at all?
I was going to mention that. there are so many businesses, and we see the big chains and the changes that are coming through Amazon and Walmart being online and all those things that are happening. But it's kind of hard to buy ice cream online. And someday that might be figured out. But for now, it's kind of something that you need to buy locally. I mean, you can order ice cream online. Candy, we sell a little bit online, but it hasn't affected us too much. It's affected a lot of other businesses more.
Yeah, I would imagine. I hadn't thought about that. Yours is probably one of the few businesses that you want it fresh, you don't want it melted, and you'll go in and buy it.
Yeah, you can always dry ice. Interesting, when we have to ship ice cream somewhere, if it's usually FedEx overnight, and just for a small box that we may send for a sample someplace is $140, $150, just the shipping side. So, that kind of limits being able to ship ice cream around much.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, thanks so much for coming in here and talking about your business, your career, your life. It's quite an impressive story. Everywhere you go in the area, you seem to see the old Farr's logo, not the old one, the current one. If you haven't tried the ice cream, new flavors coming out this summer that you can get in Brolem's and other stores, along with the candy bars. We're going to have to go chow down. Thanks, Kevin. Thank you for watching. Have a good week.
East Idaho Newsmakers is brought to you by the Bank of Commerce, your bank of a lifetime.